Hey guys, it's Mather here once again, and the latest project I've undertaken is the Volkuur Glove Poison Shenanigans, which lets you change one of your elements into poison damage, or at least have the ability to poison. In this version, you can see I'm currently using Ice Shot and Barrage, and also a Voidfletcher for Void Shot, and I'm using the cold version of the Poison Gloves that let your cold damage poison, as well as your chaos and your physical. Now, this is sort of a concept and a build I've wanted to do for quite a while, but it is a fairly intimidating item, and it's got some stuff to learn and figure out how to scale, and maybe you'll fail. Maybe it won't be quite as good as you'd like, which is why I've had to hold off on it, because I haven't really bothered POBing it and figuring out exactly how I should build around the gloves. Long story short though, it's really not that complex. It's basically just going to allow the use of whatever element you pick in this version cold to become the same as added chaos damage or added physical damage to your poison sort of arsenal. So instead of just scaling off of your added chaos, your added physical, and then damage over time on the tree, and as well as that chaos damage on the tree as well. Instead, you just still use all of the poison damage over time, but you can also incorporate percent cold damage and elemental damage into your passive tree and gearing as well, and then it's basically the same poison builds, but you can also use a few other skills and fun things like I'm doing here with Ice Shot, letting Ice Shot scale some of my poison damage, and then Voidfletcher letting that scale a bunch of poison as well. And it's working out pretty damn well. It does have several million poison DPS already, and takes down some endgame bosses off of what I think is pretty modest gear. So I've gone ahead and tried to scale the added arrow portion of a Voidfletcher, because it is a very fun item, but we're not really using Voidfletcher for clear or added big damage. It's just there for kind of aesthetics, but mostly for single target with your Barrage, because if you're unaware what Voidfletcher does, it gives you a stack of Void Shot every 0.5 seconds, stacks up to 5 times, as you can see on the top bar there, and every single time you barrage, you will unload all of those stacks at once and cause a huge explosion of about 25 arrows in my case, because every additional arrow will help fire off another one. So stacking arrows with Death's Opus and Dying Sun means I'm firing off 5 Void Shots with every click, and then if you unload all of them with Barrage, you're firing off another 25, and it does scale some decent poison damage too, as you can see right around here. But it doesn't obviously link up to any support gems, which is a pretty big deal in poison builds. So it's never going to be that much added poison damage, but it should increase my damage by another, I don't know, 50% or so. This is just going to be a full map clear run on this map just to demonstrate the gameplay in weaker types of map or weaker types of mobs like these sea witches. You might not tell that we're doing as much poison damage because things might die to the front loaded cold that we're dealing with Ice Shot, but there is quite a lot of additional poison coming in a lot of the time, and sometimes it's just insta-killing some of these things too. So it might not look like poison a lot of the time while mapping, but most of my damage is going to be coming strictly from poison, especially once you're running a Corralitos Flask like I am, because it takes away most of your front-loaded damage and makes it so that you've got a lot of extra poison duration and you're scaling your crit multi into pure poison damage. So far, it's working out real well. It's a pretty fast character. It is an assassin, which has a lot of extra movement speed these days, and then a few little defensive perks, but it's mostly for the big poison damage. And there was a bit of a toss-up for me between Pathfinder and Assassin, and I was really not too sure if I could skip the prolif from the Pathfinder side of things, but ultimately it really doesn't need to be used in a build like this. Haven't missed out on not having prolif at all, and besides that, the Assassin version should be a lot bigger in damage in the end. So it's been a very enjoyable bow experience thus far, and I do think there's plenty of things you can do with the Volkuur's gloves. This is just the cold version. You can do the lightning stack, you can still do good fire stack as well, and there should be plenty of different skills and builds you can build around them. It doesn't have to be bows. And also, if you notice in that little clip there, almost died, that's because this is an Ellie Reflect map, and I am basically pure elemental damage, but the Assassin Ascendancy that makes you take no reflect damage from crits still holds up pretty damn well, and you can see I can still clear this map completely. It will just be a little bit sketchy every now and again. So it's nice to have a pretty reflect immune build, or, well, ascendancy in Assassin, and I wouldn't quite say immune, but manageable at the very least. So it is going well for the Assassin Ascendancy for this type of thing, and you can see a slight indication of our single target here because I haven't really taken on too much of content, but I wanted to at least test some of my single target against Shaper. Went ahead and did a quick run, and this is on a 5 link for the Barrage, so with the 6th link we do get another 50 to 60% more damage since I'm missing a very big 6th link at the moment, but so far so good, huge damage. So let me show you how I've built the character thus far. So here is the character, currently level 88, called Wide Ass Void. Wide, peepo, happy emotes and stuff. Ass, Assassin, Void, Fletcher. Wide Ass Void. There it is. Built around Death's Opus, Voidfletcher, and the entire concept comes from Volkuur guidance. As I mentioned, this is what we are building around. There are 3 different types that you can get from the Pale Council fight. This is the cold version. There is a lightning and a fire as well. Now you can see that it's kind of a big detriment. 50% less poison duration is a huge cut to the poison damage. So for it to be worthwhile, you have to overcome it with a lot of extra utility from the cold damage. So it's kind of questionable as to whether or not this is even worth. You might be able to build the exact same type of character, but just pure chaos and physical damage, and then maybe get more damage. So there has to be some sort of use for doing this. And I think ultimately it does kind of pay off because you can occasionally freeze things. You do get to scale with something like Ice Shot, which you wouldn't really be doing with, you know, just chaos or physical damage, and it's a pretty fun skill to play around with for this chaos build. So there are some benefits, and I think it's probably about the same damage in the end comparatively, but I don't think it's too strict of a requirement. You're just trying to get a little bit of elemental damage on your gear, as well as some added cold, and then you get what I think is a pretty strong chaos-based Barrage bow build, because bow builds are kind of tough to get good damage in because it feels like you need a lot of gear. And basically I've only really got the Watcher's Eye that converts a bit of fizz to cold, and then just using an Omen of the Winds, so no real insane jewels, no abyssal jewel stacking here going on. Not even using a Hyri's Eye, which is a huge extra, like basically 7th link, and it's fairly expensive at the moment. I've just gone with a plain life chest, and it seems to be working out fine at the moment. Whereas a bow build will probably need something like a Hyri's Eye to really take its damage off otherwise. So Volkuur gloves, your cold damage can poison. As I mentioned, the only real thing or difference that it makes to your tree in the end is that you can use other cold-based things. So you can convert some of your fizz to cold here. Nodes like these over here will apply to your poison damage as well. Otherwise, the tree is still pretty much the same for a poison build that doesn't use this sort of thing, because you really still want all of the poison scaling shit, like all of these and the bow nodes, and then we are crit based, so we do want to take plenty of crit nodes, but at the same time most of them have damage over time as well anyway, and you don't take perfect agony as you have Corralitos going off anyway for your perfect agony. And I've tried really hard to justify not taking Corralitos and then going into perfect agony. It just doesn't seem to make sense. Corralitos is way too good. You spend too many points here, and then you have to wear a diamond flask anyway. I don't think I can justify it, but I will still keep looking into it. Maybe somehow it'll work out. You can see currently it's really hard to calculate the poison damage on this thing because you don't know how many wither stacks you're going to have up. You don't know how many poison you've got up or applied recently, but it should be a lot given that I fire off like 9 barrage arrows every single hit. and then like 25 Voidfletcher explosions all the time. So it's kind of tough to really calculate how many poisons you're going to have, how many wither stacks you're going to have, how close to the enemy you are, if your other things are going to be applying. So 2.7 mil is, I think, just kind of a little bit of a small guesstimate. It can be a lot larger, and I think we will see larger damage. And that is, though, with the 6th link, which I don't currently have applied because my 6th link at the moment is sitting inside Ice Shot. And the Ice Shot 6th link at the moment is Ice Shot, Deadly Ailments, Mirage Archer, GMP, Unbound Ailments, and Elemental Damage with Attacks Support. And Mirage Archer as well does do a bunch of poisoning too, so it's pretty sweet to have on your Ice Shot. And as well as that, once you have your Mirage Archer up and you press your Withering Step and start running around, the Archer itself will keep attacking and killing shit. It actually becomes a pretty effective playstyle. And you can even swap in a Plague Bearer, I think it is, the RF type thing, and do a similar sort of playstyle there too. Haven't yet tried that out, but we'll probably see some action of that in the next day or two, and also in the next video. The Barrage links at the moment are Barrage, Vile Toxins, Unbound Ailments, Elemental Damage with Attacks, and Added Cold. Added Cold is a very big gem, so we do want to make sure that's in both our setups. And the 6th link here will probably also be Deadly Ailments, something like that, which should be a huge extra amount of poison damage in the end. I do have as always, with a totem setup, it definitely helps quite a lot to get your poison damage rolling. And then Blink Arrow, Withering Step, Hatred, Herald of Ice, though maybe I'll swap into a Herald of Agony. We're going to play around with that in a little bit as well. And then level 1 Precision and a Blood Rage. Dying Sun, as I mentioned, does help scale your Voidfletcher projectiles, and well, I guess all other projectiles too. So you fire off quite a lot of Ice Shots this way, and then quite a lot of Barrage projectiles this way as well. And just as a quick little showcasing of what Voidfletcher does, if you're unfamiliar with it, it does give you, like I said, these stacks up here, slowly, and then every time you right click, you will fire off one of these stacks, typically based off of the amount of arrows you have. So you see with my current 3 arrows gets you these 3 explosions. If you have 5 arrows, 5 explosions, and they do overlap and each deal individual damage, so it's pretty large to do that. But like I mentioned, Barrage itself unloads all of them, so if you press Add Dying Sun and Barrage, unload all of those, you get huge extra burst potential, and it's going to be one of the best quivers you can put on and one of the funnest things you can build around as a bow character. After you've tried it at least the first time, you will be pretty hooked, I think. Besides that, guys, there's not too much else to mention. Pretty standard bow tree, I think. Levels itself, you really do need to try and fill out life as much as you can and get life pretty much everywhere you can to maintain a decent life pool on this character. So that's what I'd recommend doing throughout the character's process. The toughest thing would be trying to get life, so I've got a big life temple chest there. And the only other slightly weird item is the non-chaos as chaos damage amulet here. That's an Elder mod. It's good enough to just straight up multi-mod around because that's how good the mod is. Otherwise, you can just pick up an amulet that has something like that and then craft life on it and you're good to go. I do still have a spare suffix there because I haven't quite decided what to put onto this one, or the Anoint either. Just using freedom of movement because it's pretty good, pretty cheap, but Dirty Techniques is definitely going to be the biggest damage. There'll be some other things I'm looking at, but for now, just chilling with this one. So thank you very much for watching, and if you like this MTX setup as much as I do as well, I did forget to mention that, Void Emperor Armor, Wild Helmet, Void Emperor Shit, Blood Knight, and Ringmaster Weapon and Ringmaster Weapon Effect. Gives you basically a big ass ribbon as your bow with a top hat as well. So I've been enjoying this one. And in any case, thank you very much for watching and see you next time.